So hey people, how you doing? I just thought I'd come on and share with you a little Mother's Day special. So when I was a kid, I was a real mama's boy, and I loved my mother a whole lot, and I spent a lot of time with my mother. And funny thing is, I got some of my traits from my mother too. Some of my I don't know, personality traits. Like for instance, my mother loved to shop. I'm no different. I love to shop too. Even if it's just going out and looking at stuff, because I like that, So window shopping, as they call it. But anyways, basically my mother could shop from like, I don't know, the morning until like late at night. And we would go places a lot and shop and we'd eat and all that. And, but me, I personally can shop maybe like for, I don't know, let's say on a good day, maybe an hour to 5 hours. So like I said, I got quite a bit of my traits from my mother, but not to the extent as she did, She was a super shopper, you know what I mean? Like she just loved to look at every little thing, and me personally, I was like, well, can we move on to somewhere else now, and we'd go to lots of stores. And in the 80s, I remember my mother and I would love to go to Target, and they had some wonderful nachos in their food court or whatever it is, And we would get some nachos and a soda and stuff, and oh, it was so awesome. And jalapenos on top of it sometimes, and I think they had hot dogs too. And we'd eat there, or we'd take it in our shopping cart and eat it on the way while we were walking in the store. I have so many great memories. And also in the 80s, before Target, Target came to my area in which was Antioch, California. It came in 1988, I believe. That's when we got Target. But before Target, we had Kmart. And so they had like a food court too. And their food was not as good, but it was good. It was okay. But usually what we would do is go to Kmart, right? And then we'd go to like McDonald's after or something like that, because McDonald's was like just basically across the street from Kmart over there, or Burger King. But McDonald's we'd go to more often, and I had so many great times about that. So what this is, like I said, Mother's Day. So I'm remembering my mother. Oh, and by the way, my mother died when I was 36, and now I'm 48. And for years, I hated Mother's Day after she died, and I just totally hated it. But what renewed my interest in Mother's Day was a lot of you women who come on my channel, and then you tell me about your kids and all that, and I'm like, oh, that's nice and that's sweet. And then that brings back memories of when I was a kid, with my mother. And you know what? I don't regret. I spent a lot of time with my mother, and I love it, because guess what? She died when I was young, relatively young. So I don't regret those moments, I spent a long time with. Now, of course, when I became a teenager, I wanted to spend less time with my mother and more time with my guy friends and just go hang out and do guy things, you know what I mean? So, but that's a part of being a man is, you go off and you leave your mother and you go do other things, but I still love my mother, and I still love being with her, and we do a lot of things, and we love to eat, and we went hiking in like the hills and forests of California. There was a place called, and it was right by Antioch. It was a place out in the country. It was called Black Diamond Mines, and it was like a hilly area, like hills all over the place, and there was beautiful trees, and there was like forest area and all that, and grass. And in the springtime, it was the most beautiful over there. But anyways, so that was something we enjoyed doing too, shopping, eating, talking, and taking walks in the wilderness. those were some of the favorite things we did with each other, So I had a blast with my mother, and she was my best friend, and we could basically talk about anything. And I have an extreme sense of a goofball sense of humor, and my mother had a little bit of that, but I had it way more than she did. So, and I would often make her laugh. I would say the silliest stuff, and she'd go, Caden, and start laughing, and anyways, those were good times. And oh yeah, and something else that's really awesome. So in the 80s, funny thing, you heard of seagulls, right? The birds. So my mother and I sometimes, so the weather's really nice in California, right? So we would often eat in the car because we enjoyed the fresh air and all that, and just a beautiful day. So we'd park in the parking lot, we'd get our food, and we'd park in the parking lot, and we just eat there, and so in the 80s sometime, seagulls started to come in my area, which is funny because we didn't live real close to the coast. We were a little more inland, quite a bit. So I guess we were about, let me think here. We were about maybe 70 to 100 miles away from San Francisco. So, that's quite a bit of ways out. But so seagulls would come, and I was like, this is so weird. Why over here? And I to this day, I don't know, right? But it just happened. And the seagulls would get on top of the hood of our car, and they would look at us, and they'd stare and be like, "Whoa, hey, how about some food?" And we knew they were asking for food. So we'd get French fries and toss them out the window onto the hood of the car, and they'd eat them and stuff. And that was so cool. And it was so priceless because to this day, I haven't done that since then. So it was like one of those once in a lifetime type of things, for me now. Who knows? Like I left California in '97. Anyways, it was a great place to grow up. It really was. It was because I was exposed to a lot of things. A lot of people, a lot of stores, a lot of culture. It was a great place to grow up. But now I live in the South, and I like the South better. Because like the South, it's a wild place with a lot of wilderness, and I'm a very wild person. So, I love going feral and being out in the woods and stuff, and possibly coming across some dangerous creatures. I just wait for those things to come for me, but they never do. It's funny. Some people who are not looking for something like some dangerous creatures, they always, that stuff comes for them. But a guy like me, I'm like, well, come on. I'm right here. I'm not hiding. And, and I'm out there in the deep of the woods, abandoned buildings. Nothing ever comes for me. It's like, yeah, that's right. I'm prepared for you. That's why you ain't going to want to mess with this, are you? Anyways. But yeah, nothing does, and it's the funniest thing. I can walk anywhere at any time and nothing ever comes for me. It's so funny. Anyways, so yeah, that was really good times and all that, and it was great times, really, with my mother. And so sometimes, and I love the stories you women have to tell me about your children, because it kind of reminds me of me and my mother, or my mother and I should say. And, it makes me think back to, my time with my mother, which was relatively short, but we spent a ton of time with each other, right? So it kind of made up for what I would lose later, And one thing, I've always tried to live my life like maybe this will be the last day of my life. I've lived that way since I was a teenage boy. And I was always like, get it while you can, because, and to me, it's like I've accomplished a lot of my goals in life. I've got a lot of the things I wanted, like objects, and so I feel pretty satisfied in a lot of that. Oh, shoot. Well, it's almost time. The timer's going to click out pretty soon. because I only have so much memory on my phone due to the fact that I have so many selfies. But anyways, great talking to you. Happy Mother's Day. And well, I gotta go here pretty quick, so it's gonna time out. So yeah, goodbye everybody. Have a happy Mother's Day.